Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Star Chronicles. I got my co-host with me. Well, by the way, my name is Troy Hill. We got Kyle. How you doing today?
What's up? I'm all right.
Okay, and we also got Lisa Lee. How are you doing? And we have the Starstruck fan, the man of mystery. But that's probably the only time we'll get a laugh out of this whole program. We lost 38-31. Another game that comes down to the wire. Another game riddled with errors, mistakes, penalties. And ironically, we had a shot at the end, but we just couldn't pull it off. Let's go ahead and start off with Starstruck. What's your thoughts on the game itself?
Yeah, like you were saying, man, start off pretty much the same way. Just we had the game if we just come out playing in the first half like we would play in the second half. I mean, just think about it. If we started games the way we finished, putting up the amount of points that we put up, kind of early in a game, and then having a team to have to then try to attempt to come, look, probably with the defense that we have wouldn't be hard, which we'll get to that later. I know we're not going to get to that right now, but it would be nice to start off a game the way that we finish games, and that's not happening right now.
Oh, I can totally agree with that. I mean, we're definitely lackluster, and I don't know what it takes for – I mean, do we got to be down by 20 before the team decides to say, oh, yeah, well, I guess we're going to play now? What's your thoughts, Lisa Lee?
Yeah, kind of the same. I actually came out of yesterday's game feeling more positive, maybe a strong word, but I felt better than I did going in because I honestly thought it was going to be a blowout, not in our favor at all. So, but then the frustrating part when you really look at it is the reason I believe that we lost was not because Seattle just beat us straight up and down. We shot ourselves in the foot. Every time we had a chance to either get ahead, pull ahead, stay ahead, get them off the field or whatever, we had – it goes back to discipline, and that we can talk about that later too. But it's – but I did feel okay, I guess, coming out of it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that, well, that's one thing you were saying about, like, Seattle in general. I don't think Seattle is as good as everybody says they are. I just don't. After watching, because, like, going into the game yesterday, it was, like, more – I was, like, going basically by, like, legends and tall tales about Seattle or whatever going into that game, But once I started watching, I'm like, I mean, we just got our stuff together. We could certainly – beat the brakes off this team, and we did just some of the rights. I mean, I'm not talking about just a game of perfection. I'm just talking about a game of just remedial mistakes that seem to happen to this ball club like every single week. What's your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Yeah, exactly. I said last week, I said I think they'll win this game, but they have to play a near perfect game. And once again, like for a third week in a row, special teams has let this team down. I mean, Pollard, you fumble the ball in the end zone, and then the 1 yard line, then that leads to a safety. 2 missed extra points. I mean, I'm at the point where I'm getting worried because this is 3 weeks in a row now. This is legit 3 weeks in a row. Special teams has just been awful. I think the defense is still, penalties are taking away sacks, are taking away turnovers. Penalties gave the Seahawks an extra 2-point conversion, which they converted. It's just too many dumb mistakes, and this defense is not good enough to play with that many mistakes because the defense is awful, in my opinion. This defense is awful, so it's just I'm nervous personally because you can't. I mean, you can sustain for a few weeks, like I said, on offense, putting up 30, 35 points, but eventually you're going to run into a team that knows how to shut you down, and you better be able to respond with a defense that can shut them down. And I can't see it now with this defense. Pass rush is terrible. The secondary is terrible. And the linebackers are average at best. So, it's bleak, but I know it's still early. But it's bleak. I mean, and they even came out and said they were going to simplify the defense because it was too complicated last week. Well, if that's simplified, then I don't know what they can do more now because that secondary looked lost back there. I mean, I'm at a loss for what they're going to do.
Okay, well, since we're on the defensive part of the thing, let's talk about defense this week because I mean the offense is, I think, coming along for the most part. We just want them to start, we want them to start, more so in the first half, like most teams do, versus the second half when you're behind. But Starstruck, what did you see overall in the defense? Because I actually did see some highlights, but it was so muddled in with stupid penalties and everything else. It kind of just like took away from some of the good things that happened. But what's your thoughts, Starstruck?
Well, definitely want to start off with the good. The good also, I mean, everybody's talking about Russell Wilson being the MVP right now within the first 3 weeks and giving him a lot of, I think it being a little bit too early for that. But then on the flip side of that, I'm looking at Aldon Smith and I'm like, comeback player of the year after about 3 games. I'm like, let's put him, if you're going to put Russell Wilson on a fast track, let's put Aldon Smith on a fast track right now with 3 sacks, in one game, 4 already. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, he's leading the league right now after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's already a positive that you got right there with Aldon Smith, who he keeps rolling like that. There's no telling where we're going to be. So that's a plus right there.
Mm-hmm.
We can get some of the other guys going with that. And then Trevon Diggs. I mean, I saw a lot of people really knocking on him yesterday saying, why is this guy out there? Yeah, he's playing with a lot of heart, but he's still getting beat. Well, let's hold on that. I mean, yeah, he was beat, but he's not giving up a whole lot of touchdowns. I mean, if he was very terrible, it would be a lot of touchdowns that he's giving up. But a lot of that is really based on the safety play. We knew when we got this guy coming out of Alabama, the type of high-profile player that he was, an all-star he can be, that he's going to take chances. He's going to go for the ball. He's going to try to jump stuff. And when you have an aggressive player like that, you need to be able to have good safety play as well. I don't knock the guy for taking chances if he's trying to jump routes and things like that, because at the end of the day, he's trying to get the ball back for our offense. And we see what our offense can do with the chances we do get with the football. If you can give them bonus opportunities, what could really happen?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Diggs is actually an outstanding player. Just watching him, I mean, I just think we're still living in the past as Cowboy fans. We're still thinking about Deion Sanders, and we're still thinking about Kevin Smith, and we're still thinking about even Terrence Newman his first couple of years. You know what I mean? So I think we're kind of just like spoiled. What was that?
We ain't really had nobody since then. That's why we keep thinking back to those guys.
True, but I mean, you gotta look at it this way. There's a lot of times where Diggs is like right in position, but it's just the perfect pass, and he has like a specific skill set that I've noticed that there's things he does that other cornerbacks we've had don't do. I mean, he'll try and lay the wood out on you for one. He's gonna try and punch that ball out too, which he did it once, when what's his name got lazy, which I thought was a great play. But I also caught him tackling people throughout the game, or even somebody already got to do. He comes up and shows up. He's trying to punch the damn ball out. Those are key things that you want on your team. Now, we always complain about saying that we can never get them turnovers. Well, now you got a guy who's going to try and get those turnovers. So I don't really know what else you want from the guy. I mean, he's a rookie. I mean, he's from Alabama. He's going to take chances. And, I mean, he's my guy right now. So I can roll with that. What do you think about that, Kyle?
Yeah, I was going to say, he led the team in tackles yesterday. A cornerback, your rookie cornerback led the team in tackles yesterday. I mean, that just it shows what kind of player he is. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a guy who's going to just, play coverage and, stick an arm out for a tackle. He's going to get in there. So, I mean, let the guy play, let him grow. And, like I said, that's all you can really hope for is, I like what I'm seeing from him. So there's no quitting him. Let's put it that way. So I like it. The competitiveness for sure.
If I definitely like the aggression. What do you think, Lisa Lee?
Yeah, it's like I said last week. It's hard for me to like an Alabama guy, but I can put my differences aside too because he's on my team now. So I just think, and he's the best version. Like, he has that ball presence. Like, he's looking, like you said, he's looking for the turnover. He's not just looking. And I think the play where he did knock the ball out, that shows his, we talked about it. His, I guess his grooming, if you will, from Alabama. Like they have higher expectations there, and I think that translated into that play because he did get beat flat out, but he didn't quit. And it showed two things. One, he didn't quit, and his recovery speed. He's fast, and so. My problem with the defense is, and I heard this on The Fan today, is the problem personnel or is it scheme? Or is it, because, the regime that we were used to before, they would say, okay, and this is like, I'm an emotional cutter, the TJ Watt thing. They don't draft the best, we didn't draft him when he was available because he didn't fit our scheme. Okay, well, we don't have that same defensive coordinator anymore. But to me, it's like he's trying to force his 3-4 scheme with a whole bunch of 4-3 personnel. So at what point do you have to go back and say, okay, because the defense is getting lit all the way up right now. So at what point do you say, me as the defensive coordinator, I'm going to change a little bit of my scheme to fit the players that I have until I get a chance to draft or trade or whatever to get the right kind of RKGs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but I thought there was for some series out there, that it seemed like we were getting some pressure on Wilson. It seemed like that we were keeping him. He wasn't getting out on the outside. But damn it, what would happen is we just end up giving up that 3rd and 7 or, that 3rd and 10 or wherever the hell it was. And we did it like over and over and over again. But I think at some points it seemed like we were getting some pressure and we were hurrying him up a little bit. But, it's probably too late now because he's in Houston. But, I have to say, calling Earl, and just saying, look, I don't care what Houston's doing, but this is what we're going to do for you. That makes a difference on our defense. I 100% believe it in this particular instance because I think it's the scheme and just the lack of not knowing the scheme and having players that probably never played in that scheme. And it just makes things goofy because there's obviously a lack of communication that's going on the field where some of these guys are being left completely open. You can see it in the replays where the guys are kind of just like looking at each other like, okay, oh, and it's too late. So call Earl. Jerry?
It's like the safeties were looking for safety help. I'm like, you are the help. Like, can we not pretend like there's a whole nother level of safeties back behind you? When both the safeties look and they're both like, oh, crap. It's like, that something got missed somewhere along the way.
Yeah. I just don't. And I'm not big in, you guys know I'm not big in just whipping money on people and just doing all this stuff because I care about the longevity of the franchise, about, for us, for not for next year, but the year after that and the year after that. But in this particular instance, with the level of talent we have on the offensive side of the ball, you got to just sit up there and just go for that home run and do something. What do you think, Starstruck?
It's going to be tough, man. I share this with you all the time. One thing that I hate the most is us losing. Because what losing does is it makes us desperate. I'll be the first to admit, I said the ship had sailed on Earl Thomas last season. I said, forget about him. Let's target Jamal Adams. The minute that went out of the window, all of a sudden, Earl Thomas started looking a little bit more attractive to me again, as far as getting him in our secondary. Do I think he could fix the issues that are in our secondary? I don't think he's the end all to be all. I don't think he can completely do it. It'll give us a different look and a little bit different. But what does he bring to this team chemistry wise? And a lot of people have jumped on me. Oh, it doesn't matter about chemistry. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you have to take that into consideration. That may be something that what this team is taking into consideration, that if you bring him in to our locker room right now with the way it is going on. There's a lot of people making bad plays right now. If Earl's punching people in the face in Baltimore for messing up on plays, what is he going to do to our guys when they blow something up? And it will happen, as we see with this secondary. Just because he gets there doesn't mean people just going to automatically stop getting beat. People are going to miss assignments, him being new. What does that look like when he gets into the environment? And that might be something of what this team is considering.
But does it okay, so we've given up 38 points the last 2 weeks back to back. I'm asking, just does Earl – I'm not going to say that – I think Earl could be a big fix. Does he fix everything? Maybe not. But does he change that 38 points a week to maybe 23 points a week?
He's not 2 touchdown different, no. He might change it to 35 or 34.
Well,
He
see,
might-
if you look at it that way, it's not even worth it then.
Right.
So, yeah.
But
I think the difference with
yesterday-
Earl – go ahead. Finish.
Well, yesterday it would have meant that you had the chance. If it was 34, if he maybe gets one more turnover or whatever, you may only have to kick a field goal to win or tie versus a full touchdown. Like, I don't think he's a 2 touchdown difference maker. Jamal, for sure, yes, but not. But you're also going to have to pay Jamal a lot more.
Yeah, and still, even to this day, I'm not giving up 2 first rounds in the third for his services.
Yeah.
You know?
Not if for Jamal now watching that game, because I didn't watch. I mean, I saw him obviously last year when he played for the Jets, but yesterday's game showed me more. He's really good at what he does. One of the best when he comes up to when he's a rusher or whatever, but he does struggle a little bit on the backside, and to give up that much 2 first rounders, I need a safety. I need the penultimate safety of the league that can do both if I'm going to give up that much for him.
True. Well, what's your thoughts, Kyle? Would you've already called Earl after the game yesterday? During the game?
I mean, like I said, the fact that he's out there is still available as a red flag. I mean, that to me, like I agree with Starstruck on this. The chemistry issue, the locker room, there was reports that he didn't go to practice in Baltimore because he had to get his car washed. I mean, that's not going to fly, man. We already went through this with what's his name, Greg Hardy. We saw what kind of impact he had in the locker room. A lot of impressionable young guys gravitated toward Greg Hardy, and we see what happened to their careers. You know what I mean? And you would think Earl Thomas at this point in his career would take a little more responsibility and leadership. I mean, it's just kind of bizarre that he just, I don't know, I don't know. Like I said, if I was going to give him a 1-year contract, minimum guaranteed, I mean, it's worth at this point, it's worth a shot. But like I said, I'm not giving him a 2 or 3 year contract and $25 million. I don't know. I mean,
I got a point here.
I don't know. It's not going to fix everything in the back end, but I mean, if he could prevent 1 touchdown, from last week, that's the game right there. We would probably win this game. Who knows? I don't know.
You never need your car wash. You never need your car wash. Kyle.
Not when I'm supposed to be at work. No. Not if it's going to cost me. Not if it costs me gainful employment. Hell no. Wait.
What about a brother and another female? Have you ever had that?
Absolutely not.
On the Earl piece, though, have we ever wondered what the players think about him?
I'm sure he's got respect as a player, you know what I mean? But, I mean, like I said.
People in the locker room that's lobbying for this guy? I mean, we've seen people say, oh, Dez Bryant, yeah, if he can get here, we could see him having an impact. We've seen players lobby to bring Dez in. We've seen guys some kind of way anonymously put messages out there. Earl would really be, able to help. I'm not seeing those kind of messages out there on Earl.
Yeah.
From our teams. There's nobody saying, a guy like that could really – I'm just not hearing even leaks or anything of this guy from the organization.
True.
I think they're out, yeah.
Is there any free agents out there that we should consider trying to kick the tires on? I saw someone posted Eric Berry, and I kind of laughed because I don't think he's ever even played the last 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, he was hurt for 2 seasons before that. He played in like 1 game in his last 2 years of his career, I think.
Yeah, and isn't he terrified of horses and stuff too?
Yes.
He can't even be here. What the hell is he gonna do here?
He's got a phobia of horses. That's right. Yeah.
No, but it kind of just goes to the point. It's just like here at the Star Chronicles and stuff, we try and be rational about. We care about the franchise. Obviously, we care about the money's being spent on the franchise. So things that you will never hear us probably talk about much is trying to kick the tires on somebody who hasn't played in the NFL for like 2 years, like Eric Berry, or keep on like saying bring Dez back and stuff. Because I mean, if Dez was still Dez, he'd be on the team right now, right?
Dez made a real cryptic tweet this weekend about basically sit tight, and it sounds like somebody has reached out.
It's not going to happen. I'm telling you. There's no upside to bringing him on.
This is Rocky. People don't sit down for like 3 seasons or 4 seasons now?
He's been out for 2 years. He's been out for over 2 years now. Yeah.
So this is not Rocky or Madden where you can just click the person's player's name. They're gonna still play exactly the same they did when they were like badass. It doesn't work that way.
This is like the 3rd time I've heard sit tight.
Yeah.
True too.
Yeah. Sit tight.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know exactly.
He's doing something that came up in Lisa's defense. Yeah.
I think he just wants attention. I think he just wants attention, personally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lisa.
Well, it was like, I don't know if it was maybe the end of last week or like Saturday, or I don't know when they said, but it was something like, and I'd have to look it up, basically the nutshell of was to all you that thought I would never play again the whole time. Like, and then, I immediately go into the comments. I'm like, and everybody's like, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? And it could just be an attention ploy. And it could be that a team called him for a workout. Well, that will never material. Like it could be something as that. And he's just, he wants to stay relevant. And I
got called for a workout last week and stuff. I'm still not signed, so I can still get I get 1 sack still in the league.
You still running around on Instagram?
Hey, I don't care if it's a full sack, a half a sack, or a fourth of a sack. They even count fourth of sacks. I will take that.
It's 2020. Anything's possible. I think, could he be back in the league this year? I think it's highly possible. 2020 has shown me not to doubt anything.
Right.
That's true.
Cool.
But here's a name you won't hear mentioned with our team because there's a lot of flag and kneeling issues is Eric Reid, who's floating out there. Nobody's going to want him to come to Dallas, but I think he would have a bigger impact probably than Earl Thomas? I'm thinking so, but
yeah, there's definitely a chance on that. I mean, as far as what he stands for, I just don't care. I just want you just to tackle people and stop getting my secondary burnt.
That's you, and that's maybe us in here, but
yeah.
We don't know what the front office. We got Terry Poe is kneeling, and they've been acceptive of that and receptive. So, if we've done that, what's the worst Eric Reid's going to do when he get here? He's going to kneel. What else has he done beside that?
Make plays.
We got Poe already.
I feel like this whole safety situation can be avoided if they would just open their eyes and address this through the draft. We talk about this every single year. They need to address safety. They need to address safety. We go year in and year out, and they just refuse to do it. And now we're here, approaching the quarter way of the season. And what's the biggest problem on this team? Safety. It's been that way for years now. And they want to, fans want to recycle old names. I get it. But if they would just invest a first or second round pick in a safety that can actually play, we wouldn't be talking about this. And it's so frustrating. I don't know what the front office, I don't know what is going through their minds to realize they can just, safety, who needs it? It shows they need a safety. And it's mind-boggling that they just absolutely refuse to address this problem. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, because this current secondary, the cornerbacks, you know how we always talked about. Well, we did get more. I thought we got more pressure at some points during the game yesterday, but now it's like the defensive line is exposing sometimes the cornerbacks without no lack of pressure and penetration, trying to get a touch on the quarterback, and then behind them the safeties are exposing them too at the same damn time. So we can't even get. I mean, we can't get. Well, we can evaluate Diggs, and we can see that it's just completely different than what we've had for several years. Other guys like Antonio Browns and stuff like that, not so much. Cheeto's still, he's shell-shocked, injured or whatever he is, but he's never going to be the same again.
Well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing that bothers me so much about this front office is safety. Just like Cal said, safety has been the biggest need in the draft for years. Even when, they were building this offensive line, truth be told, safety was probably your biggest need, but they have a philosophy on the O-line, and they're going to pay the O-line a bunch of money. That's fine. But then you get to this point, and I get it. If he's a chemist, there's probably, realistically, I believe there probably has been a conversation with Earl, because he's out there. You could give him an incentive-laden one-year deal that's you're basically paying him league minimum, and if he goes off, if he does what he thinks he's capable of, then he can be rewarded. But you're not even you don't appear to be making any sort of effort to remedy your problem on that back end. You're just like Steven today on the fan was like, yeah, no, not as of right now, looking to bring anyone in. I'm fairly certain you still have sight. My 3-year-old niece knows we need safety help.
They're comfortable though, Lisa. Why you want to impede on them being comfortable? That's what he said. He has comfort.
Oh my Lord. And I think that's the most frustrating part about this front office is it's just it took for I almost said the biggest of the curse words just then. I caught myself though. They took 10 years to fire Jason Garrett. Yeah. It's going to take them another decade to figure out maybe we do need a safety. I don't know.
Well, speaking of Jason Garrett, that's actually a perfect way for us to segue over into the offensive side of the ball. You had a question that you wanted to present to us yesterday, Lisa. So go ahead and ask that said question.
Oh, my hot sports opinion about the in-game adjustment? That one?
Yes.
So, okay, when the offensive line got shifted and everybody was moved down basically one spot, I thought it was because Terrence Steele had gotten hurt, because we're so used to the old regime that will just I told y'all, I take it back to the chat. We always call it the Chaz Green game. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe. And they did not he was getting lit up. Chaz Green was that day when Tyron was out. And I think we all have a little PTSD left over from that game, because now every time Tyron's out, I'm like, oh no.
Me too. Yep.
And so yesterday when the shift happened and the, move them all around, I was like, oh, did he get hurt? That's bad. And then come to find out he had been benched, and they made what is a novelty item of an in-game adjustment. And that was, to me, that was a major in-game adjustment. You're moving your all-world Hall of Fame right guard. Now you're making him play right tackle. And they said today, none of the sports writers have ever seen him even practice at right tackle.
Ever, yeah.
Ever. Not just this year, ever.
Ever, yeah.
So what do y'all think? My question to you is, did it give you warm fuzzies that this coaching staff was willing to make that kind of a large in-game adjustment?
Absolutely.
I would say absolutely yes, because if it was Jason Garrett, that adjustment would have not been made until like 7 or 8 weeks from now. So we've talked about this like on various points the last couple of years about teams not willing to make on-the-spot adjustments and waiting to get to halftime and stuff to try and make these adjustments. So to me, it was refreshing. What do you think, Starstruck?
Kyle, were you trying to – I don't want you to lose your thought, Kyle.
Yeah, real quick. I was
Oh,
going to
go ahead.
say you're right, because you know what? Under Garrett era, it would have just been the next man up, no matter how crappy the next man up is. But what I saw yesterday was we want our best 5 out there, and if that means putting this guy over here and this guy over here, that if those are the best 5, that combination, then that's what we're gonna work with. Garrett would have said, "Oh yeah, we have an All-Pro, right tackle. Just put his backup in there. We don't care how bad he is. You know what I mean? That next man up philosophy, and that doesn't always work. And like I said, it's nice, it's refreshing to see McCarthy wanted the best 5 out there, even if it meant moving a guy who never played right tackle at the NFL level, moving over to right tackle. You know what I mean? It was refreshing, I thought. So,
What's your thoughts, Starstruck?
I was just definitely happy to see the versatility that we have in a guy like that, an all-pro guy like Martin. Now, they did correct that report also from yesterday.
yeah.
That Steele was not benched, but he was sick, food poisoning, and that he had a relapse from whatever during the course of the game, and that's why he was pulled. Jane Ashley reported, and a couple other people was reporting today that it was sick. They had pumped him full of give him IV or something prior to the game. Thought that would carry him through, and partially through the game, he was showing signs that it wasn't working, and they pulled him. But it was good to see that. So, in other words, to say he could probably be back in there again. So I don't know. The Zach Martin now at the end may have opened their eyes to something, but
I think so.
He wasn't benched, so they hadn't given up hope on him. But yeah, it was definitely reassuring to see Zach Martin be able to do that, and it's kind of, you almost expect that from a guy that's an All-Pro, but it was good to see that because you don't always get that. Just because a guy's All-Pro doesn't mean anything, but we've seen guys that are All-Pro players be moved around to safety, corner, pass rushers, moving inside, having just versatility. We've talked about wide receivers that don't just play outside, but you can put them in the slot and they're still effective. So it's good to actually see that in a guy like Zach Martin, to have that versatility. That's good to me to see that type. And I hope that we have more type of players like that on not just our line, but at other positions as well. We saw that with, and not really a good example with Byron Jones because he wasn't really effective at safety. That's why they put him at corner. But it's good to see, and hopefully we've got some other guys that are versatile, which we've been hearing during training camp, that we've got guys that are being taken a look at safety and safety to corner. Well, it might be time to start putting those guys out there while it's early in the season where we can still play around with some games, which I know we'll get to later because we were saying that, we don't want to panic just yet because we got teams like the Browns, Giants, and Eagles, And
don't forget the football team.
Yeah, and the football team. These are the next 4 of 6 games that we got coming up on top of like the Ravens, I think, not the Ravens. I know the Steelers in Arizona, I think, is coming up in that next 6. But those other 4 games, Philly, Arizona, Washington, Giants, those are games that's going to give us, I believe, opportunities to play with some things, while it's still early.
Go back to the defensive side. People probably wonder why nobody mentioned D-Law. Well, for one, I'm not mentioning D-Law ever again until he actually does something and stops saying the damn hot boys and stop wearing all that stupid stuff. I don't know if these guys need to stop looking on their social media, because there's people calling him a beast and stuff up and down Instagram yesterday. I mean, these people listen to the wrong damn people because they probably got their heads so damn clouded up that they're doing so damn great. Hey, look at your stats, man. Let me look at what these fans be telling you. Oh, you're a beast, hot boy, man. That's some bull crap. But anyways, but yeah, we're not talking about no D-Naw for the rest of this show until.
Wait, I got a comment. Did you watch the Cowboys post game with Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback? They kind of called him out. Like they said, you're getting $20 million a year. You need to be out there. And if your knee's the issue, then you shouldn't be playing. But if you're on the sideline, you got to be, because he was basically absent the entire fourth quarter. I don't remember seeing him in any key defensive drive in almost the entire fourth quarter. So I did a little research. He only played, I think, 31 snaps yesterday. He played 28 the week before. as of right now, defensive snaps, he's only playing like 47% of the snaps. Your highest paid defensive player is only playing 47% of the snaps. That's, to me, I think he finished with 1 tackle yesterday. 1. I mean, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And you got a guy coming off the streets, hasn't played in 4 years, outplaying you. 100% outplaying you. I mean, not even close. Outplaying. Oh, yeah. I think Alden Smith, I think he played like something like 61 snaps yesterday. Like he played, I think, 81% of the snaps yesterday. And DeMarcus Lawrence is, playing, 40 something. It's unacceptable. If you're hurt, don't play. You just be the sideline. At least I can excuse that. But if you're going to suit up, I better see you out there on 3rd and 7 on key drives in a 1-possession game. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I just want him to be back to the optimal level that he was. Now, I mean, I question constantly now if that was just a flash in the pan, or if he was just trying to just put poop to ass for that contract year. So, I mean, it's just really, really hard to say with that guy and just the status of just the attitudes of players and stuff nowadays anyways. We all had that moment as kids where we had like a trophy made out of foil or some stuff running around our backyards acting like we just won the I'm not even going to say his name on the show because it should be called the Landry Trophy. Running around the backyard with the Landry Trophy or the NBA trophy or some type of championship. We all had that dream as a kid. It's like some of these players in the league now, it's just like they just want the money and they don't care. It's sad. But let's go ahead and go back to the offensive side of the ball and talk about how all the missed field goals by Dak Prescott, missed tackles, pass interference calls, and illegal headbutts and stuff cost us the game. Because Dak was out there the whole damn game, y'all. I saw him doing all this stuff. Missed the 2 extra points. He headbutted Wilson. He had a couple holes and stuff on defense. And he was out there fielding punts and stuff. So what do you guys think about Dak overall?
Dak is not an issue for me. And honestly, like, it's been the same way the last 2 weeks. And I don't care. I don't care what anyone says about he's not the reason that you are behind by 2 touchdowns in both games. But it was on his plate to pull you out. So, okay, yeah, he's playing from behind, so he has to throw all the time. That's not on him. It's on him to do his thing, but you don't want to give him credit when he pulls you out. You just want to put it on him for getting you in. That he wasn't the 2 safeties that thought they had safety help. Like he's not the one, he is not a problem. And I'm telling you, the last play of the game, I couldn't get on social media because I know the ignorance were going to come out. And I just couldn't. The fact that he did not take a sack right there, because if he takes the sack on that last play, we had no timeouts, game was over. Mm-hmm. If he throws it across the middle and nobody gets out of bounds, no timeouts, game is over. If he does anything but what he did, and I get it, the game was over anyway, but he did not take the sack, and that shows his just pure athletic strength. And he was still trying to make something happen. Because if he runs and you because there's no clock stoppage on a first down, you can't – he had no other option but to throw it once he did not take the sack. Or throw it away. He could throw it away. You're right.
Yeah, and then save another field. I mean, but still – you're still getting to that point where you're in a short part of the field again, which we're typically terrible in the red zone to begin with. Anyways, I'm glad dude had a chance to take his shot. I mean, I can't clarify or figure out what the armchair quarterbacks are talking about and stuff, which they're all quite comical. But I mean, geez, I'm happy that we had a shot. Obviously, it was a terrible pass, but would you rather have the pass just like throw off some other type of way where there was no Cowboy players there, where we would have a shot? Like Lisa said, it wasn't a lot of time. And let's talk about
at that point, did he even know? Like, because he had run around for a little bit of a second. Like, I've never played, so I don't know. Like, did he even know at that point if he threw it away, if there would, because it was only third down, correct?
Yes. The
Yeah.
only option he had at that point was either throw out. He could have thrown away, like Starstruck said. He could have ran out of bounds too. Actually, he was close enough to probably run out of bounds.
Yeah, and what I question more than his decision making on that last play was the clock management and the play calling. The 11 plays before that,
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah,
that were meh. I mean, it's like they had like a minute 47, 3 timeouts, which is that basically with 3 timeouts, that basically makes the clock null and void, in my opinion, if you're playing it right. But when you play it dink and ducks right in the middle of the field and you have to waste your timeouts, to me, it made no sense. Okay, yeah, you move down the field, but then the play calling before that is what put Dak in that position on that last play of the game.
I didn't have a problem with the first initial part of it. I had the problem of it when they got towards the 20, and it was like they got within the 20. It was like about 4 minutes left on the clock, I believe, and that's when I had the problem, because at that point their goal should have been to run 2 more minutes off the clock and try and be within the 10. They should have spent 2 minutes trying to get that 10 yards at that point, where there was no running, there was like a lot of passing going on, and that was my problem, because 11 minutes is a long damn time to try and kill time. 7-8 minutes, that's way more manageable, than 11 minutes, I think. But I think the play calling changed at that point when they started getting closer. But I don't know. Now, what do you think about that, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like Lisa, she was afraid to go online because sometimes Cowboys fans, they just, a lot of the idiots want to blame it on Dak. Interception. That was his first interception since what? Like Thanksgiving of last year. I think he now holds – he set a record for most pass attempts without an interception. The guy throws one. Every quarterback's going to throw one in a season. And that he's – they want to blame him for losing the game. That game was way lost before he threw an interception. I mean, come on. Like I said, it's just, fans need to wake up. Like they don't realize how good they have it. Dak is a good quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback. I mean, thank God we're not running around with, Dwayne Haskins or, Daniel Jones. My God. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has 6 interceptions, 6 in 3 games, and he has 4 touchdown passes. I mean, it's not even – like I said, Cowboys fans, they don't realize how good they have it with Dak Prescott. I mean, my God.
There's still so many other things that need to be fixed with this thing outside of Dak. I mean, I really just don't. I really just don't get it. What's your thoughts, Starstruck?
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Dak, just by the way. But at times, it's going to sound like, hey, I'm one of those guys on the other side of the hater fence with him. And it's only because I get attacked a lot about Dak. It's people like, man, you just Dak's this, Dak, that, whatever. And I'm a big supporter of Dak. But this is a contract year. This is contract year. A lot of the stuff that we were able to put aside and say, well, he's only been in the league a couple of years. He's changed offensive coordinators, which, he did some changes with the head coach. He still got Kellen Moore back this time. But what makes this kind of bigger than what it is and probably what it should be is the fact that you just played against probably going to be the MVP of this season yesterday. This guy threw 5 touchdowns. Granted, he wasn't playing against the Seahawks. He was playing against us, our secondary, threw 5 touchdowns. But when you look at his interceptions of being 0, granted, again, he was playing against our secondary, and you look at a guy that's in a contract year that could be potentially at the end of this season, if he's re-signed, make more than Russell Wilson, who's been to the Super Bowl. And he threw 2 interceptions yesterday.
One is only classified as 1, friend.
He threw the one just before halftime. I believe it was just before we went into half when we were trying to drive to do something. And we threw that ill-advised behind the receiver. It got picked off. Just before half, the Seahawks drove down, and I believe they scored again just before halftime. And then we all got happy and said, well, at least we get the ball back after halftime. And then we came right back, and then we got the strip sack fumble right after that. Those things in a contract year are going to look bigger than what they are. And he's now a guy that's in his 5th season. I said, big supporter of Dak. But when you go up against a guy that's MVP caliber, and you got those kind of turnovers, and then that last thing where, as a quarterback 5 years now in, you've got to be conscious of that clock, because anybody else that is clutch is going to know how much time is still left on that clock and know I need to get one more shot at this thing and not panic in that situation and throw that ball, and just throw it flat down the field. At least try – because he had time to get set, at least put some air and make it a better pass to get it up. And it just threw it flat. But be cognizant, if you're going to be clutch, you got to know at that time, I need to throw this away, or I got to put it up high and have my players make a play on the ball. I said I'm a big supporter of him. At the same time, it's a contract year. You 5 years in the league. At some point, you're going to start having to take on the brunt of what it is to being a leader on that team, because nobody else is.
Yeah, very, very true. What's your thoughts on that, Lisa Lee?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's I think he is the future of this franchise. I don't doubt that at all. I do think sometimes even I have unrealistic expectations of that position for this team, but just the team in general. Like sometimes I have a hard time saying, okay, we're not, I have a hard time not being one of the ignorant fans and just thinking, but I get really, and I had to, I told y'all before, I've had to check myself a couple times this season already because, and this is not an excuse or whatever. We didn't have a preseason, and I think some of the discipline things that we see, like the penalties and stuff like that, I think we're seeing what would have happened. These things would have been exposed in the preseason, and then maybe lingering into game one. And it's stuff you can talk about. You don't have to talk about it during live season. I don't know that a preseason corrects all of it, but I do think we are behind the 8 ball a little bit just because it's a whole new staff, all that kind of stuff. But where Dak specifically is concerned, we all have talked about it too. It is different being the franchise quarterback of this franchise than it is in Seattle. I'm not saying he and Russell are even Dak's not that far off from Russell, but there is a difference. Russell is better than Dak, I will say it. But The lights are brighter here. There's a whole lot of ancillary stuff that goes on with being the franchise quarterback here. We've talked about that. But all that being said, okay, I guess my follow-up question is, do y'all feel like, and again, going back to what Starstruck said, it's time for him to, put up or shut up kind of thing. But I wonder if he was a little bit, his first, 4 years, he was hamstrung, whatever, by his head coach.
I gotta say, maybe if this defense wasn't a bottom 3 defense, year in and year out, like it wouldn't be putting him in a position where he has to win the game every single week on the last drive of the game. I mean, my God, if this defense could cut the points in half and allow a team to score only 19, we're winning games 19 of 39, 19 of 31, 19 to 27. The defense puts him in the most god-awful positions that all right, Dak, we know it's on you. We had you attempt 50 passes, go attempt 7 more and win this game for us. You know what I mean? Behind a crappy O-line. And don't make a mistake because our defense can't stop anybody. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. It's his contract year. But what if it wasn't? What if he signed his contract in March? And that makes no difference to me. You know what I mean? Like, contract year or not. He's the future quarterback. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know what I mean? But this, they put this unrealistic expectation. Like I said, they put him behind 8 ball with that crappy defense, letting up 38 points per game. You know what I mean? Like, that's, like I said, that's just almost unrealistic. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like setting him up for failure. I don't want to say because he's a successful quarterback, but my God, the defense, he can't be going to shootouts the first one to 40 to win every game. You know what I mean? Like, that is not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's not.
Mhm.
But I mean, I trust him. I believe he can do it. But I mean, like I said, you got to the world's one of the. I think this line grades as a bottom 3 offensive line right now, according to Pro Football Focus, across 3 games. They're one of the bottom 3 lines, and you have a bottom 3 defense. I mean, it's they got to get their act together. I think.
I mean, I hope they do. Briefly, because we're running out of time, let's quickly discuss Zeke Elliott and his performance, which was poor. Anybody gather anything off of that? It seemed like was it just a bad game? Was there something else? Did it seem like a lot of people were slipping on the field? We just chalk it up to a bad day at the office, or what do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, they did him. He just didn't seem to have it, and I think the team quickly shifted. Like I said, 60 pass attempts. You know what I mean? 14 rush attempts. They kind of took him out. The play calling took him out of the game too. Kind of. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, Starstruck. He mentioned that in the beginning of the game. He's like, "Doesn't it seem like they haven't ran once yet?" I'm just like, "Well, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it at that moment because we're moving the ball, but then I'm like, so they're like maybe like 4 or 5 plays later. I'm like, hey, So, what do you think about that, Starstruck?
This is my thing here. I've harped on this before when we talked about Dez Bryant. I've harped on this when we've talked about Amari Cooper. I'll harp on it again whenever CeeDee Lamb gets up to that limelight of being a 1 or 2 or whatever. You have got to get your playmaker the ball. I'm sorry. And I'm not saying, the box is loaded with people, keep running it right at him. Okay, if that's the case, then we need to split him out wide, put him in the slot. But you need to get the ball and get this guy engaged. Have him run a curl route or something down the field and dump it to him or something. Get this guy involved somewhere. Okay, he has what did he have yesterday? 17 touches, 40 yards. Did he have 40?
No, I think it was
38.
60, wasn't it? It was like 6 catches
or
for
something like that.
Oh, okay. 6 catches for 67 or
if that's
something
the
like
case, then he should have had about 7 or 8 catches for like 80-something yards. If he's not running, then we should have been trying to get it to him on some – and I know we tried. He had a couple of drops, in that. But you got to keep your playmakers involved. We've got guys that we know if they get the ball in their hands in the right situation, they can't just get a first down. They will take it the distance. Mark Cooper will do it. CeeDee Lamb will do it. Zeke can do it. Get them the ball. Get some guys in front of them and get it down the field.
I mean, hell, we got Gallup can do it and Wilson can do it too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you know what? Dalton Schultz could probably do it also. Being dead serious, man.
I don't know if we have time to get into Gallup. Gallup, I think you got to throw it kind of far for him. I don't know if he's that guy underneath type guy. I think you got to throw everything. He's almost like
Alvin Harper.
Yeah, since if we want to keep the show Cowboys, I guess we can say that. But I was going to say the guy that's played with this Ted Ginn, where he was just go run.
I'm okay with that.
Swing away and just
yeah.
I don't know if he's got all the other things, and that's just something we'll probably have to get into because I really think he's still in the bubble. I'm sorry.
I don't think he's on the bubble, believe it or not.
I think if he's in a bad situation right now because if he doesn't do good, I think he's gone. If he does exceptional, I think he's still gone. Especially if you got somebody like the guy that was catching on yesterday out of Cedric Wilson. If Cedric Wilson keeps showing some sparks, he's going to be a lot cheaper than what you're going to have to re-sign Michael Gallup for.
Yeah,
so it'll all, to me, how effective Cedric Wilson is going to remain all season.
True. Well, I'm thankful for the way it is just because, one injury could change everything of the dynamic of all that. And then if we have one injury, we're still stout at that, the wide
Wilson's
receiver.
been known for that. Wilson hasn't finished the season yet.
Yep. So, we just don't know. What's your thoughts on Zeke? Or you just think it's just a bad day at the office or, nothing to really worry about? What do you think, Lise?
Yeah, he's good for at least one of those every year. I mean, it's not part of it. It's like we talked about at the very beginning. I think part of it is when they do load the boxes in the beginning and then the play calling doesn't change or whatever to get him involved. I think naturally, and I think you would as the feature back or whatever. He seems to not completely disengage, but it seems less, but I don't worry about it. Like I thought he played lights out the first 2 games. And, I mean, the play calling is not on him. And even the check downs and kills, that's not on him either. So,
yeah, those drop passes killed him, though. Those drop passes were.
No, that for sure. 100%. Yeah, that part is on. And that was like, he just had a case of the yips yesterday is what it seemed like. And it just happens. I mean, you've seen it with all the greats. I mean,
Yeah, remember Jason Witten a couple of seasons ago where he couldn't catch anything for it was like about a 2-game stretch.
Yeah.
But people weren't writing him off But I also remember a time when Tony Romo was having like a bunch of tip pass interceptions and all that type of stuff too, and he wasn't getting thrown underneath the bus like Dak is. I wonder why. Should I do this slow zoom into the camera? But we're not going to go there this evening. But
we'll save that for next year when he's up for the Hall of Fame. We'll save that for next season.
Yeah, well, because Romo is going to go, and I still sit up there and say book it. Romo will be first vote to go into the Hall. Yeah,
the bet on that. Dinner on me at Nick and Sam's if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, I'm going ahead to try and I'm getting my tuxedo pressed right now, so it's ready.
I'm so confident that you can go ahead and make reservations.
Yeah.
You know what? Damn it, book it. I'm gonna call them once we're done.
That's what I mean.
Dak throwing for over 400 every week. He's not gonna have any records to get in the Hall of Fame.
True, that's true.
If Dak keeps having to score 40 every week, Tony's records will be they'll be like, Tony who?
Yep.
But what do you guys think about the upcoming game against the Cleveland Browns? Is this that trap game that's going to end up being like the Jets last year, or what? Also, we got thumbs up by Lisa, got thumbs up by the Starstruck fan. What do we got by?
Hey, I'm telling you, the Browns running game is serious. The Browns running game is serious, and Chubb, he's a damn good running back. And if they can get those 2 wide receivers, Landry and Beckham, who's covering those guys in our team? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the Browns are going to come in here and beat us, but you're right. It could be a trap game for sure. I mean, that running game is solid in Cleveland right now. I mean, they got to – who else can stop that run? Who's stopping them?
Okay, let's go to Lisa real quick. Lisa?
Where's the trap? Who's coming up behind them that makes them nervous?
Who? The division?
There ain't many teams behind us.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. We're the dumpster fire of a division. So, yeah. I mean, the Eagles are playing the Niners, and I forget who the Redskins and Giants are playing, but, Yeah,
but who's right after – the only thing that's right after Cleveland, I think, is the Giants, which that you talk about a terrible offense, and we know who's calling that. So
yeah, they're awful.
We know what they're going to do, and they're going to, maybe our defense will look good then because we know exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah.
The weekend after that, I think, is the football team. I'm not scared of them. So I guess it's going to be like a trap game. I feel like there has to be like a good team.
And we're looking forward to playing.
Right.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think you have to respect the Cleveland Browns. I mean, like I said, that solid running game, solid wide receivers. Our secondary is awful. We got no pass rush. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I mean, I don't expect them Baker to throw 5 touchdown passes, but I think if they establish a run and keep our defense on the field for 35 minutes, it's going to be a long game.
I think it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks it's going to be, but I will definitely have to go with the thumbs up. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
You know, especially if you make the level of mistakes that the Cowboys have been making in the last couple of games and stuff, you pretty much put any team in this league in the game. So, I mean, there's a possibility they tighten up the mistakes and stuff. Of course, I'm not going to do some long-winded 5-point to victory thing because it's ridiculous. I will just say, you know, do the assignments and stuff, and do the scheme, and stop making so many damn penalties. I can deal with getting burnt in some instances and all that type of stuff, but just to give up plays and give up changing the possession of the ball due to constant penalties. I mean, I have more of an issue with that stuff right now than the defense not being able to, stop anybody. Because there's some cases 3 or 4 times a game where we can have that 3 and out, and we don't have that 3 and out because I'm sitting there all paranoid. It's like, oh, they stopped the play. There's a flag on the play.
Hands to face.
What's coming. So
2 reasons.
I'm more looking for a more level of discipline as far as penalties. The other stuff I can deal with right now because we might not acknowledge it right now. It's still fresh from the game, but a lot of those penalties is another reason why we put up 38 where we didn't have to. I mean, just as much as not people being out of place and everything else, that contributes to the 38 points as well. So maybe that's something we can fix also and turn, shave that down to 10, maybe. But
I think 2 reasons. 2 reasons why this is not going to be as easy as we think, or not we think because we already said, but others out there that might think this is going to be an easy game. It's the Browns. Number one, our secondary. So that's going to – you got Odell and is Jarvis Landry still there in Cleveland?
Yep.
So you got that, our secondary. And number 2, Baker Mayfield. Didn't he play at Oklahoma? Any quarterback that comes into our stadium for some reason from either Oklahoma or Texas always seems to have some sort of good game. Fans don't have to travel far if they're coming from Oklahoma. And
that's true. Yeah.
I don't care who it is.
Well,
you're from
there's only one
or whoever. If you're from Oklahoma or Texas, if you're a running back or you are a quarterback, you tend to have a good game against us and make the game so much more interesting than what it should be.
The only person that really thinks this is going to be an easy game and stuff, I guarantee you he's going to be coming out of his car on Sunday with a hot boy face mask and stuff walking into the stadium. And I'm sorry. I don't give a ticker's damn about what any of these damn players are wearing when they're going into the stadium or when they're getting on the plane or they're getting off. Do your damn assignments and win the damn game. Stop trying to look all cute and stuff and focus on not trying to stop making all these damn penalties, man. I mean, if I was a coach, I'd hand it because it's getting ridiculous because you guys are catering too much to these fans. They're going to sit there and love you to death and stuff, be out in your little cute outfit and stuff and throw you up underneath the bus when you don't perform and stuff. They always gassing up your heads. There's still people sitting there telling you, D-Law, that you are a beast. You ain't done anything remotely beast-like or something like a beast in the last damn season and a half. Stop letting all these people gas your damn head up and stuff. Because these are the same people that want Dez to come back, that want Jason Witten to come back, that want
Tony Romo.
That might want to kick it around with Tony Romo a little bit. I mean,
DeMarco Murray? Is DeMarco Murray? He's out there still, right? DeMarco Murray?
Yeah. These are the same. Those people are the ones that gassing up all your heads.
Yeah.
Those are the people that's doing it. Want Eric Berry to come to the scene.
I have wondered why the Cleveland game could be out of hand early in our favor because here's the thing with Baker. And I watched a lot of Baker football because he originally went to Texas Tech and then he got his feelings hurt because little Pat Mahomes obviously. But then he transferred to OU and OU's still in the Big 12. I watched a ton of Big 12 football. Baker is easily rattled. So if I'm the defensive coordinator, which I'm clearly not, I send the house. I just start blitzing the crap out of him from the beginning because if he gets rattled, that's a wrap.
But we've been saying that for weeks now. They should be doing that to every damn body.
No,
I
get it, but there's a big difference. You like with Russell and Jared Goff even, and Matt Ryan. I mean, all three of them. That is different discussions all the way around, but because they're just a lot more poised. Baker's a lot
Emotional hothead kind of.
except for
Yeah.
not that good. But he gets rattled. He will get rattled if you can get to him. So I'm sending Alden every single time. You just go. You do what you need to do. Get in his head, and as Cleveland goes, as Baker goes, because if Baker's being able to pick apart and like he did yesterday with Chubb and whatever, then. But keep in mind they were also playing. Who did they play yesterday? Was it the football team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Chubb got out. I mean, and you got to also realize that with the football team, Chase Young went out early in the first half, groin injury. So they're all-world defense that really was, I thought, as advertised. When he went out, they changed for sure. So I'm actually not worried.
Anyways, I've had a wonderful time tonight, but we're running out of time. Would you guys like to say goodbye to the people?
Goodbye. Cowboys win this week. We're back on track. 2-2.
I think so. Yeah, I agree. Yep. Yeah.
And Kyle, are you?
Yeah, I agree. I said they should win this game. I mean, I said they shouldn't. I'm nervous because I'm always nervous, but they should win this game. It's at home, coming off a loss. They should win this game.
All right. I hope they win too. I mean, definitely hope they do. But if you guys enjoy our content, make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you click the notification button, and please share with your friends. On behalf of myself, Kyle, the Star Trek fan, and Lisa, we're out, and we'll see you next week as we talk about how we throat punched the Cleveland Browns in the mouth and DFW Air at the Death Star over there in Arlington. That's what we're going to talk about.